Hello, Bailey Shea here, back at you with another video. I'm gonna talk some more about the Stauffer family, Micah and her husband. I did a video on them, but since then there's been some more things come out about them, a lot of things, and a lot of things have happened since then. First of all, I want to give credit to a couple of YouTubers that did videos on this. They dug deep into it. One of them is Without a Crystal Ball. She really dug deep into it and found all this information. She actually had people message her and say that they used to be neighbors or co-workers with her, and they're not surprised that things like this happen, that Micah is this way, she's been this way for years, all that kind of stuff. So that's really telling. It really is. Apparently, Micah assaulted a woman when she was working as a nurse in a nursing home in Ohio somewhere. I think it was Ohio. Or Ohio's at least where they live now. And she would post some questions on sites like not Quora, but Google Ask or some site like that. I don't remember the name of it. And there were questions that were really grammatically atrocious. Not to mention, questions that are kind of weird for someone who's a nurse or in nursing school to really ask. And there were a lot of them too. She is not the brightest bulb in a box. She really isn't. And I'm surprised she made it as a nurse. Well, I don't really think she made it as a nurse, because apparently there's been a lot of people saying that she would make mistakes on a lot of stuff when she worked as a nurse, which is really, really unsafe. And I'm surprised she still has her license, if she does. She's gonna need it because she will be off of YouTube, hopefully, and her husband too, because they're both complicit in this. Her husband should have stepped up and did something, say, hey, we're not going to do that. I'm going to help you. We're in this together. You're not going to do this to our son, etc. He should have been more assertive about that. He's one of those guys that seems to me to be too nice. Like, no backbone type of people. Let everyone walk all over them. And he should have stood up to her and put his foot down. There's also a lot of stuff that was said, like how she's so fake online, which I definitely believe that, because that video explaining what had happened with Huxley, they were all crying and trying to make themselves look all innocent. They're really not. They are so fake, and they try so hard that it's obvious. It's obvious that they adopted that kid just so they could get views. That Micah would do anything for attention, it seems like. Even videoing their child's birth, okay, and vlogging it, putting it on the internet. Which, I understand a lot of family vloggers don't do things like that, but there are also a lot that do. And I think it crosses a line when you put your child without their consent and too young to consent online. That's just really dangerous to them. Posting your details about where you live and whatnot. There have been family vloggers that did that, and they had problems with stalkers and whatnot. Have fun, but remember, consent is important, especially when it comes to your kids. And do not video them before an age that they can consent. Which leads me to this. There was a post they made on Instagram, or forget where, or like a comment, I think it was, talking about how Huxley expressed that he wanted to be rehomed. He's like 4 or 5 years old. A 4-year-old, 5-year-old cannot consent to stuff, okay? That's too young to consent to anything. If I had kids, I would not put them on the internet without their permission. I would not even let them have a YouTube till they're like 12 or 13 at least, and even then with some restrictions. I would definitely expose them to what I do, and editing and filming and whatnot, and I would definitely nurture an interest in that, but I would keep their safety in mind too. I could get my own money. I don't need kids to do it. I don't have any kids, by the way. I'm just hypothetically speaking. If I did have kids, that's the way I would be, because there is just a lot of danger online, and I won't do anything to put the child that I might have at risk for that. It's just not worth it. And your child could grow up to be very mad at you. That could definitely harm your relationship with your child, doing stuff like this right now. Like that. Putting all their personal details online, for one, without their consent. And number two, before they're even able to consent. And number three, not being willing to take it down or make it private if your child asks to. There are some family vloggers who have done that too, So really, family vloggers as a whole aren't all bad, but there are many who have done questionable stuff. The Stauffers are just one of them. Daddy of 5, that happened a while ago, a couple of years ago. And I hope the same thing that happened to Daddy of 5 happens to Micah and her husband. I think they need to continue to lose sponsorships, but they've lost a lot of sponsorships. And they lost some subscribers too. Hopefully they lose all of them. I don't wish that upon anybody normally, but anyone who exploits children deserves any kind of misery they get. I feel the same way about anyone who molests children or abuses children anyway. I just hate people who victimize children, the elderly, the disabled, animals, anybody. That's how I am. These people claim to be Christian too, like perfect Christian family. They're just so fake. And there were even, I watched her drama life, which is not really drama life, it's more like a life story kind of thing. It wasn't even her drawing for one, it was just telling her story. There was one comment, or two actually, talking about how this doesn't seem real to me. And the weird thing is, those comments were from like a year ago. So that tells you something. And if she's lying about miscarrying and stuff like that to get views, she's a special kind of sick on top of what else she has done too. Because there's a lot of women who went through that, and that's not something that should really be taken lightly or played around with, because that's a real serious issue. Anyways, I'll see you in my next video.